Hi guys, in this video we're going to make a little cute superhero. We're going to have a go at trying to make Deadpool. I'm just going to use some ready coloured modelling paste. I've just got the Renshaw's one here. It's just a little bit easier than me trying to dye it red myself. I'm going to use modelling paste instead of normal fondant so it dries a little bit harder. So I'm just kneading the modelling paste to make it nice and soft. I'm just going to try and roll it into a ball and get out the creases. And we're going to roll it nice and long. And I'm just going to cut the ends off for his legs and do the same with the other side. Just going to flatten the bottom of his legs and we're just going to narrow them a little bit at the top. So we're going to keep his legs quite chunky so that they support the body. So we're just going to cut a little V shape from the tops of the legs there. And then what I'll do is, using the edge of the knife, we're just going to push in to create feet at the front of his legs like that. Just make sure that you can stand them up, okay? If you've got plenty of time to let these dry, you don't have to worry about putting internal support in. But I'm just going to add some cocktail sticks just to give it a bit of extra strength because I'm not giving it very long to dry. So I'm just going to run a stick inside each leg. And we'll just check then how tall they look, the sticks. So these are probably going to come out bigger than his body wants to be, so I'm just going to snap a little bit off of each one. I'll turn the snapped bit to the bottom. Now obviously, because they've got cocktail sticks in, you wouldn't be able to eat this cake topper. Just going to add a little bit of water between the legs to stick them together. And we'll leave them to one side standing up while we make the body. So taking some more red modelling paste, we're going to create a bit of a body. So we're going to pinch it at the bottom to create a bit of a triangle that should fit into the V shape that we've made at the top of the legs. I'm going to keep his body so it's a little bit wider at the top than at the bottom. His waist is going to come about here. And we're just going to flatten the top bit. And I'm just going to put in some lines now for his body. So we're going to just put a little line down the centre for his chest. And again, across. I'm not going to worry about putting in every little bit of definition with it being more a cutesy version, so we'll just put a little curve under there like that, and then we're going to stick some water on the bottom, and then we're going to push the legs into there. So I've taken some black modelling paste, so it's ready dyed, and it does seem to come off on your fingers quite a bit, so just be careful when you're touching other colours. And we're going to roll a nice thin piece to go around the bottom of each of his legs. So once you've cut a thin piece, we'll just take it round the legs, so cut off that end bit. And I'm just going to put a little bit of water around the bottom and all the way around the back. And I'm going to push that into the crack at the front, taking it round. I'll just push it in a little bit at the back there, and then bringing it all the way around. That's quite a good fit. And then just pushing it into that gap again there. So I've rolled out a little bit more black, and we're going to put the black pieces on either side of him. So I'll just cut it in half to start with. And I'm just going to have a look at whereabouts it goes. So it's going to come down here. I'm just going to mark in a line to take a little bit out there. And what I'm going to do is put this one on top of that one so that I can get the same shape. I'm just going to put a little bit of water now on the edge of that black. And we're going to start it down here, pulling it up to his shoulder. I'm just going to cut that little bit off there. I'm going to cut this little bit off on the shoulder as well, just making sure I've got some water underneath. And just put the other one on the other side. So once I've stuck the black on the other side, we're just going to re-put in the little lines for under his chest and under here. In fact, we'll stick in a couple more lines. Taking a black ball of modelling paste, we're just going to squash that down a little bit, and we're going to use this now for his neck. So I'm just going to put a little bit of water underneath, and we'll stick that to the top of the body like so. Taking some more red, we're going to use a little polystyrene ball for the centre of his head. Now you can do it solid in a fondant or modelling paste if you want, but because of the weight it's better to put something like a polystyrene ball in the middle. Again, obviously this one's not going to be eaten. You can just use a Rice Krispie treat ball that you've made if you want it to be edible. So taking the ball, I'm just going to squash it out a little bit. And I'm going to just put a little bit of water in the centre, and I'm going to push the polystyrene ball in there, and I'm just going to gradually start pulling this around. So I might have a little bit much icing, so if I do, I'll just cut that off afterwards. So keep going until you've enclosed the ball, and I'll cut off the extra. So I'm just going to keep rolling that now until it's smooth. So once you've got it nice and round, what we're going to do is put a cocktail stick in here. Just being careful not to squash it too much when you push that in. So you might need to give it another smooth. So we'll stick the eyes on before we stick it into the body. I've just squashed out 2 oval shapes in black, so try and get them a similar size. So once you've got them to the right size, we're just going to put a little bit of water on the back, and we're going to place them on the face. So what I'm going to do now is just put in some little eye sockets. So we're just going to push those in with a balling tool. So I take 2 round balls of white. Try and get them similar in size, and we're going to push these into the eye sockets that you've made. And what we'll do is we'll just change the shape of this one slightly so that it looks like it's got one eye slightly shut. So I'm just going to put a bit of a line coming out, and what we'll do is press this one so it's a little bit more teardrop shaped. That in the eye socket, and then we're going to push the black down just a little bit. I've actually just decided to make that one just a tiny bit smaller than that one, so it's a bit more obvious with the difference between the 2 eyes. I'm just going to stick a little bit of water on the top of his neck, and then what we'll do is push this in. Just make sure if we push it in that your cocktail stick isn't longer than your actual body. And we'll just push that in gently. So just make sure it does stand up. I'll show you him from the front. So obviously you can make yours stood up. If I stand mine up, it's a bit difficult for you to see what I'm doing. So we'll give him a belt next. So we'll start by making a little belt buckle for him. So we're going to start with a piece of red that we're just going to squash down slightly. Just check size-wise against his body, so I might go just a tiny bit bigger. I'm just going to squash that down. I've got a little bit of black in mine. Okay, and then I'm going to use black, and his belt buckle sort of repeats the pattern on his face. So we want 2 ovals of black squashed on there. And we're just going to take 2 tiny white bits for the centre. possibly even smaller than I've got them. It's not going to stick, just add a little bit of water. Mine have ended up a little bit oval shaped. And then we need a slightly bigger black circle now. So what we're going to do is, rather than rolling it and squashing it flat, I'm going to roll it out lengthways. And then we'll put it around the edge of his belt. So we'll just roll it a tiny bit thinner. I'll just make sure the edge of this is wet. I'm going to add this around. So for his belt, I've just mixed a little bit of red that I had left in with the black so that it's not quite the same colour. Again, we're just going to roll a nice long thin piece that's going to go around his middle. So I'm just going to stick water on the actual belt now. Just a small amount. And then we'll put him over the belt, wrapping it round till it reaches the middle. So mine's overlapped a little bit, but that's fine because the buckle will cover it up in the middle. Just add a little bit of water there to the centre. We'll pick up that little buckle piece we've made, pushing that down. So I'm rolling some more out now for the extra bits on his belt. Cut it in half and then we'll cut it again to quarters. Just make sure they're roughly a similar size. And we're just going to stick these now on his belt. So for his arms, I've just got 2 circles of red. We're going to keep them quite basic now in shape with them being so small. So I'm going to start rolling it just a little bit thinner in the middle. And what I'm going to do is at this end, I'm just going to flatten it down slightly. And I'm just going to pinch a little bit, which is going to be his thumb. Then we'll pull this bit out a little bit further for his hand. So you'll see it's not a detailed hand. Just push that in a little bit more so you can tell it's the thumb. He's going to be giving a thumbs up. And then we're just going to stick that, give him a little bit of a join there where his arm's going to bend, and we're just going to stick that to the top of his body. At the moment his arm wants to bend a little bit, so if you've got anything that you can prop it up against to stop it falling over till it dries, that's great. So the same for his other arm, only we're not going to stick his other arm up, it's going to just go down by his side. So again, we're keeping it very basic in shape, and we're just going to push this onto here. So we're just going to stick a little bit of water on his hand and his arm because both are going to touch him. So anywhere where it touches, we're going to stick water to stick it in place. We're just going to push that on like that. Again, if you think it's going to fall off, just put something against it to hold it in place till it's dry. So while the arms are drying, we're just going to make his little swords. They're going to be in the covers, so you're not going to see the silver bit of the blade. So we're just going to roll the black nice and thin. So what we're going to do is just roll it slightly so it's a little bit thinner. And I'm going to cut a little length of it. Now, I'm just going to check the length against my figure. So that's about what I want it to be. And we'll just try and get the other end to match so we've got 2 the same. So again, roll in the black. I'm just going to cut that in half for our handles. Just check size-wise that you're happy with them. Once you are, just stick them on with a little bit of water. So taking a little bit more black, again, just rolling. This time we're going to push it across the front. And then we want to cross our swords over. I'm just going to put a little bit of water where they cross there. I'm just going to push them down so they stay. they can be setting a little bit, and we'll just give him some little black bits for his shoulders. Again, we're just going to keep it quite basic, so we'll just have 2 balls that have been squashed for his shoulders. So we're going to squash them down to create a bit of an oval. The black is going on everything. And a little bit of water on the inside. And we're just going to place this onto his shoulder, like so. We're going to do just exactly the same for the other one. It's a bit more awkward to get this one in. Try not to knock his arm off because it's not set yet. We're just going to roll, again, another piece of black, which is going to go around his sleeves. So we're just going to take some thin black strips and we're going to stick them around each arm. So a little bit of water on there, pushing it in at the wrist. I'll just nip a little bit off the back of there. And we'll tuck that all the way around. And again, we'll do the same on this one, which it's a little bit difficult for you to see on this one, but we're just going to wrap it around his wrist. So once we've done that, we're just going to add a bit of water to the swords. Now if yours is stood up, you might want to use a bit of royal icing to stick it in place because it's a little bit stronger than water. Or if you're doing yours like me, where you're letting it lie down, you can leave it to dry then on the swords, and then once it's dried you can pick it up. So there he is, finished. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video and would like to see more, please click on the images of the other videos suggested. Also, please do subscribe to my channel using the button at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. You can also visit my cake website and my Facebook page to see more cakes and ideas.